Plaintiff Peter Arzumanidis is suing his roommate, Michael Darko, for car damages. Peter says that once he and Michael moved in together, he realized Michael was a lazy slob who has anger management issues. Michael Darko says the plaintiff is the annoying roommate, and he doesn't believe he should be responsible for the damages.
All right, the plaintiff Petros, your last name?
Arzumanidis.
Arzumanidis is suing Michael Darko. How are you today?
I'm fine.
For car damages.
That is correct.
You were roommates?
Still are roommates, ma'am.
You still roommates?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's why it's such an issue.
Let me ask you a question.
What's that?
Like when you got up this morning, who made coffee?
Neither.
And like, did you come here together? Okay, Peter, go ahead.
Basically, we came here because we need your help. This is something that we can't resolve on our own. Like you just said, we are roommates, which is what makes it such a complex issue. The defendant, Michael, basically, he moved in. We worked together as personal trainers at a gym. I thought that he was a model of good health. I thought that he was this disciplined, moral person. Then I find out he's lazy, he's a slob, he's a complete mess. I just feel like a single parent where I live, like I'm doing the dishes, I'm taking care of everything. I go grocery shopping, he eats the grocery, I've even found him eating.
This is like the odd couple.
That's why it's so complex for us.
All right, now, are you a slob?
No, ma'am, not by any matter, and I apologize, Your Honor.
Why are you apologizing?
I called you ma'am and not Your Honor.
Oh, that's very nice, thank you. So you're both trainers?
Yes.
Bodybuilders, trainers?
I'm not as much a bodybuilder, I'm more into cardio. He's kind of a little more on that aspect. A little bit of questionable activities, but I don't know.
What kind of activities?
He has some anger management problems. I think that he's irrational about a lot of things. And, I don't want to really make accusations, but I think just because, I've never seen him do any of these things.
So then don't say it.
Absolutely. Okay, back to the case.
Okay.
So he moved in early. When I came there, he had remodeled things, took down posters of my favorite bands just to replace them with like a hypertension poster, like a muscular anatomy poster. And this is all in my living room. I try to separate business and pleasure as much as I can, and he just made it hard to do so. Furthermore, I come home from class just to see him, okay, mind you, not even in his boxes, but in just briefs, half naked, like doing like squat thrusts. Just not a great living environment. At this point, he's only living there 2 months. Like, I didn't know him that well.
What, 6 months? It would have been all right?
It would have been a little more, all right, perhaps.
All right, so you're doing squats, your briefs.
Yeah. And you can get a kick out of this. The next day I'll come home and he'll have some fat chick doing squats, And first off, not to mention that I don't know how much liability there is with that kind of thing. So,
Your Honor, if I may interject, I do have my own insurance for running my own business, as well as she had signed a waiver stating that any kind of exercise plan that I did give her was specifically for her, and she could not take it to any degree past what I specified.
Can I ask you a question, Michael?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why are you training young women in your apartment?
That is the way that I finance my schooling.
And let me say that I never signed a waiver. I never okayed this. I kind of respected it to an extent. It bothered me, it was difficult.
What, the woman or him in the briefs?
Both. If I'm sitting in my room, I want to go get a glass of water. I shouldn't have to feel awkward about going into my kitchen. Not to mention, it's like where I eat dinner,
All right, so why are you suing him?
Basically, okay, where we live, it's difficult to find parking. Sometimes we'll let the other person borrow a car just in interest of moving it, it's just easier. So he's lent me his car, I've lent him mine. The day in question, I gave him permission. He went to school, he came back, he handed me the keys. I asked him if everything was all right, he said it was. Me and my witness, Will, we were actually gonna go play basketball. So we figured everything's all right. 20, 30 minutes later, we go outside to get in the car to go drive to the courts. I just look at this driver's side door and I notice, a terrible dent. And, I didn't do that. I would have known. I call him and he just proceeds to tell me that, he doesn't know anything about it. He says that must have just happened. This is right in front of my house.
You didn't damage the car, Michael?
No, I did not damage the car, Your Honor.
Step up. What's your name?
My name is William Bright.
How are you, William?
Doing all right.
You were going to play basketball that day?
Yes.
So you go out. What do you see?
We go out, and as I go to Pete's truck, I tend to notice that there's this huge dent in the truck. And like Pete said, As Mike came inside, he said, he didn't get any tickets, whatever. But I saw the truck prior to Mike going out, and there was no dent. So somewhere in that time frame, something had to happen to the truck, and he didn't do it.
That's very nice. All right, go ahead.
I brought evidence of the pictures
Let's
of the
see it.
vehicle. One of them is a close-up. The other one, you kind of just see the entire car. It kind of shows that it was in good condition. That car was my baby.
It's a nice color.
Yeah.
There's the dent.
And
How much is the damage?
It actually came out to $12.09 and 39 cents, I believe it was.
Okay, so
I have a copy of that.
what makes you think he did it?
Well, he just sounded kind of shady about it. I kept asking him. After a week or two, he comes out and he says, Peter, I'm sorry. It wasn't while I was driving the car, but while I had it parked over by the university, when I got back in it, the dent was like that. So, the fact that he lied to me made me feel like he was negligible in that regard. But this is basically just something we could not resolve on our own because he thinks that I'm wrong and I think he's wrong. And regardless of anything, he's going to be in the room next to me when we wake up tomorrow. I have to live with him.
He could be in the living room with someone doing squats. All right, Michael.
And that's probably the case.
Okay, your turn.
I'm not gonna lie, in the past I have had anger management issues. However, I've taken care of them and I've found ways to channel my anger in other ways. When I moved in with Peter, I felt that we were gonna mesh pretty well, had similar schedules, both work at the same gym, all that. So once we started moving in, I started noticing a few different tendencies of Pete, started noticing that he just likes to, in the morning, sometimes we're on different schedules, and he may be waking up earlier than I am. My room happens to be adjacent to the bathroom. As the temperatures have cooled down in Philadelphia, I keep my door open, and Pete does the same with the bathroom door. As you can see, this is a problem. As he's defecating and urinating, I can hear all of his bodily functions. Aside from that, when he's becoming a little bit more attractive to ladies, so he likes to scrub his tongue, and you hear him.
You could hear that from your bedroom?
It's right next to it, man.
I believe this is all hearsay.
If you could define hearsay, it'd be excellent. But basically what I'm trying to allude to, he's not very caring of the other people that live in the house, myself. He stated that I am a lazy individual. I find that to be very interesting when I am a fitness center coordinator at a major university, as well as when I'm a personal trainer and group exercise instructor at 2 schools, and I currently take 20 credits. And getting to the case at hand, just that was a little bit of background. I did not dent his car. I did borrow his vehicle. He did give me permission. When I did bring it back, there was nothing visible on the car, and there was nothing there physically at all. He did ask me if I dented it. I responded with a no. And what he was just talking about, as I said, someone dented it while I was parked. Now, I said someone could have potentially dented it while I was parked. So I apologize for his misstatement of my statement.
No, you're not going to apologize for him. Okay.
Can I?
Go ahead.
First off, I feel it's a little bit of defamation, what he said about me. Talking about my hygiene and habits like that. If anything, I didn't close the door.
Talking about him in his briefs doing his squats.
Well, that's in the living room. And as far as me not closing the door, that's because it makes a lot of noise. I try not to wake him up. And okay, how loud could somebody be brushing their teeth? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
If
All right,
that's really...
Peter, thank you. I can take judicial notice of all of that. Michael, here's the bottom line. You take the car.
Yes.
It's not damaged.
No.
Okay. So you bring the car back and then you give him the keys. These two go downstairs and the car is dented. And if the car was parked parallel to the curb, which is what I saw, you wouldn't be able to dent it like that. That is a dent that's like frontal, perpendicular to the car. So this didn't happen while it was parked.
Well, I can tell you that where Peter was parked, there actually happens to be a straight road. And people commonly make U-turns there. So it's very possible that somebody could have backed into the car, creating a perpendicular dent there.
Except there would also be, sir,
Yes, ma'am.
a continual dent down to the step, unless they were like driving like a 54 Edsel that had wings that only dented the top and not the bottom of the car.
I've never seen one of those, Your Honor.
I'll bet you haven't. Now, can I ask you something? How are the two of you going to go home tonight?
That's my question. That's why we had to come here. Because honestly, there was no other way to resolve this without a physical altercation. And we tried to avoid that. I mean, there's no other way really. I asked him, he says no, I say no. We met a stone wall, that's it.
I love his calm attitude right now because this is not what is in the household, to say the least.
Let me tell you something, guys. Both of you are capable of fisticuffs, so stop playing around in front of me. I've been around the block. The both of you, be quiet.
Okay.
Here's the issue. I don't believe that you intentionally damaged the car. I don't know if you negligently damaged the car. But here's the bottom line. You took the car, it came back damaged, you're going to pay for it. Now, as far as I'm concerned, if this were a criminal case, you would lose because there isn't proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I think the two of you belong together. I really do. I do. All right? You get the money, the $1,200 or whatever it is, $1,209. And I think that the two of you should still be friends. I think you ought to shake hands. I'm not even going to bang the gavel. Shake each other's hands. Plaintiff wins.
Thank you, Your Honor.